All right, one question we get a lot is, why do I have soft spots in my glue? Now, if you're gluing up everything and you're going through the proper procedures to burp the adhesives like we've shown in other videos, purge the tip to make sure you've got a good mix of catalyst and adhesive, you really shouldn't have any soft spots. And if you do, you're getting a soft spot most likely to something called pulsing. And basically what happens is when these tubes are filled at the factory, obviously the adhesive is poured in, and the goal is for all the air to come to the top, and then the caps that you see here are pressed in and locked in place. Now, this works just like a hydraulic system, right? So as you put it in your gun, and then these plungers that you can see in here, these plungers are going through and pushing the adhesives out, basically just working like a hydraulic press, pressing the adhesive out. Now, if you get any air anywhere in this tube or in your adhesive tube, I don't know if you guys remember back in school, but like if you're looking at your car brake system, it is a hydraulic system. It is brake fluid in your lines. If you get any air in your lines, it is a massive problem. I don't know if you've ever had air in your lines. I used to race at the track a lot. When I got out of college, my first companies, we'd go out and race the cars. Sometimes if your brakes heat, they boil and it can introduce air into the line. And I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you're coming into a turn and you need to brake and you push on the pedal, especially when your brakes are over hot, faded, and if they have started to boil, that brake pedal goes down to the floor and you come into that turn at 60, 70, 80 miles an hour. It is the most scary thing on the planet. Now, this isn't extreme like racing. It's not life or death. But if there is air that is trapped in this catalyst bubble, when the plunger is plunging it, you can kind of think of just like your brake pedal going to the floor. That air is compressing and it's not forcing the catalyst out at an equal rate that it needs to be to the adhesive. So sometimes you could have done everything right, but let's say just somehow during the manufacturing process, there's been an air pocket that's caught in the catalyst. It's generally an air pocket in the catalyst that causes the soft spots. So as you're squeezing the gun, you're now squeezing out more adhesive out through that side of the nipple while the catalyst is squishing that air bubble down until it compresses enough to start forcing the adhesive back out the opening to get the proper mix. So you might have a section where, hey, instead of being 10 to 1, 10 parts adhesive to 1 part catalyst, you now have 10 parts adhesive coming out, but you have 0 parts catalyst until that air bubble compresses and goes. Now, generally, that's only going to be in a spot that's maybe an inch or 2 long. It doesn't take much to compress the little tiny air bubbles and get it out. However, it still can be a concern. So that's why if you watched one video about storing your adhesives, we recommend that you always store them with the nipple up. That way, if there is any air in it, it can kind of migrate as the air bubbles float to the top and get to the nipple. Then when you burp it, you're burping out those air bubbles and you're laying down your adhesive. Now, obviously, sometimes there's still issues. It doesn't matter what adhesive manufacturer you're using. If there is an air bubble in there, there is a best practice that can help eliminate soft spots or adhesive from not curing almost 100%. And that is when you are laying down your adhesive, lay down 1 pass that's thin and a second pass is thin. A lot of guys are laying down just one huge layer, bead of adhesive and then laying it down. If you will go and do 1 thin pass and come back and do a second thin pass, the statistical chances of having 2 passes at the exact same spot that don't have catalyst in it is slim to none. Even if there was an air bubble in it going this way, that air bubble is going to be worked out, and then when you come back the other way, you're going to have a catalyst there. That way, your whole lamination edge has equal catalyst and adhesive in it, so even if there is a spot where there was a little bit of pulsing and you got more adhesive than catalyst, when you come back through, you're going to have catalyst there and it's going to kick off. So if at your shop you are getting soft spots, remember, ask your guys, did you properly burp the adhesive to make sure that the catalyst and the adhesive were coming out equally and that the pistons were balanced in your adhesive before you started? Then after that happened, did you purge the tip to make sure you had an equal mix? And then when you were laying it down, do 2 passes so that statistically you have a very low probability of there being any spot where there is no catalyst. If you're using manual guns, that's fine. If you're using a pneumatic gun, the pneumatic guns seem to do a little bit better job of reducing pulsing, and that is because the pneumatic gun is keeping a constant pressure on the pistons in the gun, Whereas with a manual gun, you pull the trigger, when you get to the back and you let off, it temporarily kind of releases the pressure on that glue gun, and it doesn't keep that even pressure. So if you're using pneumatic guns, it's going to diminish your chances of failure even more. Not saying that you have to use pneumatic guns. There are thousands of shops that are using manual guns every single day. But when it comes to why am I getting soft spots, these are all steps that you can take to help reduce the chances of ever having one. So again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email. We love helping you guys take your quality and experience to the next level. Thanks, you guys.